Alright, so welcome back. So today we're going to leave Python for like 2 to 3 videos. So today we're going to start introducing to SQL, which is a language or structured query language or SQL that can help us to interact with the database. And then we will talk briefly about some commands. We may not get to foreign keys if somebody knows that, which if you know that, you don't really need to watch this video, but we're not going to get to that deep like foreign keys, and because we're not going to use it in later tutorial. But if I genuinely want to make a individual SQL tutorial, we'll talk about foreign keys. But for now, we'll just talk about basic SQL commands. Alright, so we're talking about so we talked about how did you create a database file, and now I open it in the DB browser for SQLite, which is in the blog, which you can check out on davidsmeblog.blogspot.com, or in the video I'm just gonna abbreviate to DB browser. So this means the same thing. It's like the GUI version for the database. So the first we're gonna click on the execute SQL. First is we need to understand how is a database, what it is inside of a database. So a database is made up by multiple tables. So if you want to create a table, so you can imagine table literally like a table, not the table that's where you read a book, that table or study, but a table like a arbitrary table, a data table where it has column and row. So you can imagine this as column and row. So to create a table, which is always the first step when dealing with SQL, is you can use keyword create table to create table. Now follow with a space and parenthesis. You can see this like it's kind of closest, means we're doing a good job right now. And then I press the tab key. And then here we can say the first is column name. So if actually here we need to say the table name you want to create. So for example, in this SQL just means create a table that's called user with no column. So in the parentheses, that's where we will add column. So a column has two things to think about. So it's have the column name. It also have also have a data type. So these are the two things that we need to provide to the database to create a column in a table. So for example, if you want to create a table called user, we need to keep track of 4 information really. Is the ID that's auto-generated. You may think that's like, why do you need an ID for each user? Well, that's because in SQL, it's also known as a primary key. This key will not change. So this is like your social security number, right? Nobody going to have the same social security number as you. That's also applied in the SQL database. So for the simple SQL database, we just use primary key auto increment. So first is we need to say, let's just say ID. Data type is integer, primary key, auto increment. So this line already looks a little bit cryptic. What this means is, okay, first is create a column. Now this name ID with data type, really these 3 data type. So it's an integer because primary key is always integer. What auto increment does is it's make sure that it's increment every single time by 1. So we'll talk about this more when we're actually dealing with in Flask. But even if you create let's see 3 rows, so the primary key for each row is like 1, 2, 3, but you suddenly want to delete all 3 rows for some reason, and if you create another row, the row will not start with 1, will start with 4. That's how auto increment is working underneath while working. So just make sure that really no primary key will be the same even after the row deleted. So for example, even if you die, your social security number will still owned by you. I'm not sure that's applicable to here, but anyway, this is create a primary key. This is always the first thing you should do. usually at least. And then we can say, let's keep track of email. So we can use text for email. It's just a normal text, so you can type whatever character you want. And then we can say username, but this time I'm going to use varchar. So what is happening here? Well, we're creating a column that's named username, and this column can only have maximum character 100. That was varchar doing. It's limit the character to only 100. I'm not sure what happening if you have a character that is more than 100, but it cannot be more than 100. Usually should be an error should be raised or something like that. And then it's password, which will still keep as text because user can type whatever password they want. And generally, varchar is better than text because it have like a memory thing, so you don't have to allocate like infinite amount of memory for text, but it's only need to allocate like 100 character if you're using varchar 100. And now we can click on this little run button. Now you should see result query executed successfully, took 19 milliseconds, blah blah blah. And now if you go back to database structure, you can see a new table has been created. We're not going to deal with SQLite sequence. Just I don't think we're going to talk about this later, SQLite sequence. But for now, we can just focus on user. You can see a new database has been created with the data type we specified: ID, integer, primary key, auto increment. Email is text, username is varchar 100, password is text. Alright, so create a table was fun, but if we browse the data, you can see there's, and change to user, you can see there's nothing in it. What if we want to add something in it here? What if we want to add something? So insert a row. So we can do that by using insert command. So we can say insert into, then it's your table name. So you can say users. And then here we're gonna specify column. So we can specify email. Usually I specify column just because if I just want to, because sometimes it can have no value, which means no value. So it doesn't have any value at all. In Python, it just means none. But you can restrict that by saying not no. So it must have value, like required in an HTML form. So we are going to specify column names, so email, username, password. So we're going to say values, and then email going to be, let's just use some fake email, someoneexample.com. And then username, I can just say someone, password is someone. Now you can see a question already erased, but we're not going to solve this just yet. Like you can see the password just in plain text. That's not safe. Let's say if you are working for Google or some big tech company that stores billions data, like probably every single person on earth have a Google account, unless you're living in some country that you cannot Google, cough cough China. But you can see, what if the data is leaked? Then your password will be disappear for everyone, the hackers. So we generally would hash the password, and then that are we going to do when we're dealing with like register. Yeah. So if we execute this command, and you can see insert into users, and then values here, and then if we go to browse data, you can see we get ID, email, username, and password inserted into our users table. Alright, last two comments we're going to talk about is what if you want to delete a column? So actually, let's not worry about that. We need to know how to select the data. So let's say you insert the data, but you want to select the data, like we're doing login. You must compare the data. So to select the data, you can use select keyword. Select, you can specify what column do you want to select, but you can use wildcard or star. It's if you are using American keyboard, it's on top of 8. You can use Shift 8 to type this character. Select star, you can use from, so from users table. And then if we execute this, you can see we actually get the table return. The row return. Alright, so let's start from users. But what if you want to delete a row from users table? You can see delete from users. That's how you delete a row. Delete rows from a users table. But notice that this will delete everything within the data, within the users table. So it's gonna, if you have more data like ID 2, ID 3, ID 4, it's going to delete all of them. If you run this, and then we try to go back to the browse data, you can see there's no data anymore. And now, next, we're going to talk about how to delete the entire table. To delete the entire table, you can use drop table with your table name, users. Run this. Go to database structure. Now you can see the user table get deleted. Alright, so this is most basic, I would say, 5 commands you will use. Just a quick recap: create table, insert, select, delete, and drop. But as I just mentioned, what if you want to select a table? Select a column in a table only when a certain constraint is met. So like a if statement in some sort. Well, that's what we're going to talk about in tomorrow's tutorial, which is where. Alright, thanks for watching. Make sure to smash the subscribe button and the like button with that little notification bell. If you like this video, make sure to comment below for what you saw or what do you want me to do. And then make sure to comment below what website do you want to see me to create. And yes, thanks for watching and see you next time.